Do you think the plaintiff side was controlling all of that, or do you think the insurance company was controlling all that? Do you know how much control that represents? That's getting whole state bodies to do your bidding. Whole members of Congress, state representatives, all of these people to get in bed. And it wasn't as hard as you may think. And Texas at one time, our whole insurance, what do they call that, the Senate committee on the insurance? They absolved it now, I think. Craig was on it.
Oh, the Insurance Oversight Committee?
Yeah, the Insurance Oversight Committee. Guess who all of those people were except for a handful? They literally owned agencies and had stocks and things involved in the insurance. In other words, for the lobbyists to come to the insurance guy, it's really simple. Hey, last year you made $225,000, right? Yeah. We have this legislation here that if it passes this year, you'll make $500. If it doesn't pass, your $225 that you made last year is going to go down to about $175. I didn't have to bribe anybody, did I? I just had to look for the right people to support to get it in the right place that would understand the language that I'm speaking, and that's not a hard thing when you're talking to the risk managers. Very simple. From Larry Taylor. He was the head of the whole deal for a long time. That guy owned a big old huge, he's the one that did TWIA. The horrible things that we see with TWIA and what they do were a brainchild of his. And I imagine Badger and a couple other people had.
If you look at State Farm agents and other agents, the insurance companies, want their agents to run for statewide office.
Oh, yeah.
They say, oh, we'll give you extra time off, right? Well, oh, yeah, we'll pay your full salary while you're up there in Austin. We can do that. So they urge and encourage and promote, their agents to seek office. So, but I mean, the 60-day period, if you look at it, it really serves two different purposes. It's a bonus float, right? It's like an extra 60 days, and then we file suit, and they got to serve us, so it's really another 30 days. So you get like 90 days extra with this just timeout period. Plus, what else do you get? They have like 90 days advance notice before you attack. When do you call up your enemy and say, hey, 90 days from now, we're getting it on?
Specifically 90 days.
90 days from now, set the clock. So that gives them a lot of time to internally circle the bandwagon to say, hey guys, are we all on the same page here? Right? This house had no damage, and so they can start redacting things out of the claim file. They can sanitize the claim file, they can clean it up, right? Now, they're only supposed to do that after that point in time happens, when they get that, but that's something I review when I get the claim file in. When did they start redacting it? When did I send my pre-suit demand, right? Because sometimes they try to jump the gun early and start redacting things.
We're just going.
Sean, I kind of know the answer, but still to elaborate. If that many people don't understand policy, don't understand duties after a loss, and an expert is required, such as a public adjuster, as one we needed for engineer mitigation roofing contract, why can we not get them to where PA fees are paid as it's required to fulfill their portion of the policy? But every other expert gets paid.
I've
So
gotten
part of
it
it's
in
the way
about a
you're-
handful.
Yeah.
I have gotten it, and
I remember we discussed
Yeah.
that before.
We've gotten it paid on a number of files, and
Yeah.
it wasn't like it slipped through and they're like, oh, we didn't realize we're paying PA fees.
No.
That was the topic of discussion. They realized they were doing it. And so in Texas, Florida, other states, it's happened. Now,
What we're working
I'll
on.
say legislatively in Texas, it passed the insurance committee last time. It made it through the whole House of Representatives, and it died in the Senate. The Senate did not vote on it. There was just about 100 bills that came over, and time was running out, and they were like, we have 100 bills here, we got to pass these 15, and they voted on them. The other 85 never even got a hearing, and they just died in the Senate. So, but there was a bill in Texas that made it out of the House of Representatives, it just died in the Senate, that would statutorily institute public adjuster fees, right? And so there's going to be another big push next legislative session to try to get that through. So it's like tipping over something heavy, right? You got to rock it a few times before you
Actually,
get the
it's
momentum.
uprighting something that went wrong.
I would
Remember
like
from
more
camp, they
accountability
paid the
on this.
PA fee in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I'd like more accountability because I don't want all of Florida.
But,
PAs
and
coming to
it's,
Texas
we
to
shouldn't
do the
attack
right
it
job.
as a recourse then, because then you go into saying that it's extra contractual obligations. which makes you the judge, jury, and executioner. We don't want any part of that. What we want is an understanding from the beginning that the things that you've asked the insured to do are not possible for them to do because it's not what they do.
Correct.
In the beginning of insurance, before all of this went south, prior to 1921, they paid the PIA fee out of the investigative part of the funds. In other words, it didn't come from the insured's funds. It came from the part that the insurance company had set aside for their part to investigate that claim. That's what we should revert to, and that's what we should be pushing for. Not because it's a penalty to them. No, but you asked the insured to do some very specific things. We're not talking about a 165-line policy that a ninth grader could read and understand. We're talking about a 40-page policy that it takes a postgraduate degree to read and understand, or somebody like us that's read it so many times that we finally, we got it. Right? I put State Farm policy, standard homeowners policy through Grok AI and asked it, at what grade reading level is this? And it come back postgraduate. Each sentence has 5 different components in it that you have to understand inside of a singular sentence. That is postgraduate level reading and understanding.